This is Resolute and the Resolute Podcast, where we are discipling and developing men to live with conviction. I am Vince Miller, your host, and today we are in a series on Holy Week. Today's topic entitled Deep Empathy. Men, welcome back to the program. If this is your first time tuning in, then thank you for joining us. The Resolute Podcast is produced multiple times every week. We have Resolute study guides that go along with this podcast for your men's group, found on the website for members at beresolute.org. That's beresolute.org. Come back often. Feel free to add the podcast to your favorite RSS feed or in iTunes. You can also follow us on Twitter and Facebook. All the links that you need are on the homepage of the website. So let's dive in. Guys, today is Monday of Holy Week, and I think it's a noble task to spend some time this week reflecting on the passion of Christ and the final events of Jesus' life. This week, I want to guide you through a few thoughts as we head into Sunday. I think we often unintentionally cheapen Resurrection Sunday when we don't take time to reflect on the events of this week. So this year, I want to challenge you with a short thought each day as we travel the Passion Week with Christ. Now, I am going to be drawing attention to a few details of Jesus' last week, but I especially want to consider how Jesus might have felt this week. I'm setting out with this goal so that we can create some deep emotional connection to Sunday and celebrate not just being with family, not just putting on Sunday's best, not just heading out to church for an event, but in hopes of creating a deep spiritual connection to this incredible day that we celebrate once a year, Resurrection Sunday. Each of the coming days, I want to give you a short devotional thought that will give you some time to reflect on and act on things as we head into Sunday. And it's my hope that this will bless you spiritually. You might also share these thoughts with a friend or family members as a way to influence their experience as well. I'm choosing this week to do some of these things with my family. So today is Monday. There were a few occurrences on this day in Jesus' life. These include, first, his departure from Bethany and return to Jerusalem, which was just a short walk from this neighboring town. On his way, Jesus curses a fig tree, which he found was fruitless. Jesus then weeps over Jerusalem. He then enters the temple grounds, and Jesus scolds the temple people that are money changers that were charging extraordinarily high exchange rates for temple offerings. Before he leaves the city, he peeks into the temple area and then heads back to Bethany for the evening to stay again with Mary, Martha, and Lazarus. With all these happenings, I just want to focus our attention on one of these incidents. It's the occurrence of Jesus' weeping over Jerusalem. Here's how the text reads in Luke chapter 19, verses 41 through 44. Here's one event from this day at least. And when he drew near and saw the city, you got to imagine him coming over a hill and suddenly being exposed to it. He weeps and he says, "Would that you, even you, had known on this day the things that make for peace. But now they are hidden from your eyes. For the days will come upon you when your enemies will set up a barricade around you and surround you and hem you in on every side and tear you down to the ground, you and your children with it. And they will not leave one stone upon another in you, because you did not know the time of your visitation." Wow. Man, those are poetic and incredible words. We can probably recall two moments in Jesus' life that he wept. One was here, and the other one is at Lazarus's grave, whose house, by the way, he's staying at now. There's a unique similarity in the purpose of Jesus' weeping in both situations. His heart breaks for our lack of belief and faith in God. And for me, this is a moment that we get to see the heart of our God for us. You know, guys, I have had a few times in my life that have brought deep sadness upon me and uncontrollable weeping in my life. For sure, one of these moments was a moment that I began my search for God. It was 1990. I was living a few hours from home. At this point in my life, I had made numerous bad decisions that led me into a crisis in my life that was continuing to worsen. My life was a mess at this point, and I felt like I was really going nowhere fast. On this particular day, I made a decision to return home to my grandparents' house, who were the people who essentially raised me. At the time, I owned a 1957 Volkswagen truck, if you can imagine that had transmission problems and was jammed into second gear. So at this point, on this particular day, I'm driving down the freeway heading home with a transmission that was failing, and a song by an old poet came on my transistor radio in my truck. It was a man named Bob Dylan who was singing a song entitled "Like a Rolling Stone." I got to tell you, in this moment, the poetic words that he wrote just struck me. In particular, it was the chorus of the song. The words of this song brought me to deep weeping about my life situation and all the choices that I had made. Here's the chorus from the song. Here's how it went. How does it feel? How does it feel to be without a home, like a complete unknown, like a rolling stone? I can't tell you how much that captured how I felt in that moment. So at this moment, uncontrollable weeping begins. I mean, full-fledged, eye swelling, nose dripping kind of weeping, if you know what I'm talking about. And I will never forget this moment because I'm crawling down the freeway at 30 miles an hour while cars are flying past me at 70. Wind is blowing in my hair from the wing window, eyes swelling, tears are falling. And you know, in that moment, I didn't care as passersby witnessed probably one of the most heartbreaking moments of my life. My heart was broken over decisions that I had made, and I was in search of a different way of life because none of my choices were working, which led to a decision to follow Christ in the months that followed. Now, this is a little hard for me to share and slightly embarrassing, and while some may see this as a moment of weakness, I look back on it now as a moment of incredible strength. Yeah, maybe slightly embarrassing, maybe, but it was honest, and what I felt at this time in my life is just how I felt. Sorrow from my lostness. Sorrow from my lostness. You know, as I look back at this time, I was sad because I was lost, right? I was confused about the present and very unsure of the future. I felt the impact of numerous poor decisions, which left me feeling empty. And at the same time, I'm heading home to ask for forgiveness and pursue a new life. And that wasn't exciting either. It was shameful, full of guilt. However, I had no other choice, much like the prodigal son. I was feeling the shame and regret of numerous decisions and looking for a better path into the future. Now, I have to clarify here. My weeping and Jesus' weeping in this text are very different. And here's the difference. While I was weeping for myself, Jesus was not. I was weeping for myself. Jesus was not. Jesus was crying for his people and for his city, for the hope of this great city, the people of Israel, for the future of God's people. Jesus' reason for weeping is unique here. He never saw his situation as something to weep about. He never saw it that way. He understood it as his path. What drove him to cry was his love for God's people, and specifically their lack in trust in God that impacted their eternity. You know what that is? That is deep empathy. True, deep empathy. You know, only in recent years would I say that I'm coming to know this type of empathy. The class of deep empathy that breaks for the people around me and their eternities. The man whose heart breaks for my wife and children and relatives and neighbors and coworkers and how they will spend their eternity. A constant focus on eternal matters that drives the core of my being in the direction of a greater place of higher value. So guys, my challenge for you is this. Don't miss this. My challenge for you is this. Empathize with those around you. The people we know around us are not just employees and neighbors and friends or relatives. The people around you are spiritual beings with an eternal destination that awaits them. Love them, pray for them, and weep for them. And do this knowing that on this day in history, Jesus Christ wept for you. Well, gentlemen, that's the show. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed our time today, and we hope that you will pass along this podcast to other men you know. Just head to the website or simply share the feed. Guys, I want to encourage you to continue with me over the next 5 or 6 days together. I would love for you to walk this journey to Jerusalem with me. Also, I want to give you something free if you'd like. I'd love to put in your hands and into your email box a men's daily devotional. If you'd like to sign up for that, you can simply just go to the website. There's a button right on the top that says Men's Daily Devo. Would you go there today and just sign up for that? It's a very short men's devotional. You can follow with us through Easter and continue with us for the rest of the year. You will get in your email inbox a short text and a very brief explanation of that text along with the challenge that I would love to send you personally. So guys, remember I love you, and get off the bench and into the game, and join us tomorrow for another edition of the Resolute Podcast.